Good morning, Grand Rising, and welcome to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron. Once again on Friday mornings here on Humanity Healing. And it's always a joy to be present with you and to share with you what arises for me after a week of life in the world that is somewhat helter-skelter, if you will. So I want to thank you all for tuning in when you can. And I know not all of you can make it live. Some watch this later. And I thank you. I thank you. It's important for all of us now to really realize that we need each other to co-create a better world. That this is not going to be done by the leadership of our countries or by some great big corporate structure. It's come to the point where it's each one of our hearts that are involved now, that each one of us have an ability to tap into our own personal feelings and our own personal heart and ask what is the best way to move forward from this point. And it's really not about a global world or world order. It's about coming home into our hearts and realizing that we are the global world order. That the election of people to be in charge is out of hand and not aligning with love or peace or benevolence for everyone. And I'm not blaming the leaders or the governments, but what I am saying is that they become very myopic. They only look at what life looks like from their perspective, not the average human being who's working and trying to support its family and trying to feed its children and make a life for themselves that is comfortable, that is relatively in balance with the environment around it. And it doesn't matter what newspaper you pick up or what news station you watch. There's always the stories about distortion and the stories about harm to Mother Earth, harm to human beings, people just acting erratically and from a place of anger. And really, it's a place of hurt. The anger comes from being hurt. It's not, so much the fact that we are in need of great control as much as we're in need of great compassion. It's the compassion that we're lacking right now. So I have a new setup here on Humanity Healing. Thank you, Humanity Healing, for this time slot. And I'm just trying to figure it all out. It's very nice and clean on the screen, but it was a challenge to get here. Good morning, Patricia, Renee, Julie, Lynn, Caroline, Lina, Francisco, and all who are showing up. So today's topic is really called peaceful presence. And in light of things that have happened here in the United States in the past week, horrifying things where people have just unleashed in violence and taking human lives, innocent human lives that their people and families were shopping in their supermarket and trying to get food for their families. And because of the color of their skin, the person came and just shot them cold blood. And there's no words that can really make sense of that. And so this is the kind of behavior when we see it, it happens in schools where children are doing this, and we have adults doing this, and this random hatred or disturbance within themselves that's creating this. The issue really here is that we have got to come back to a peaceful presence. I've been a pacifist my whole life, but my younger years, I grew up in street gangs. So I know what goes on in the streets. I know what life is like in, in the distorted world. But it was a matter of survival. And I look at the world today and I'm saying we have so much. Why are people still struggling to survive? It's that animal instinct in us that I have to, defend myself. I have to fight against this, that somebody's trying to take something from me or someone's trying to make me do something. Let's find a place of, as the topic is, peaceful presence. So I didn't know what I was going to talk about this morning, to be honest with you. And I happened to read Natalie Glasson, who channels people and what we would call interstellar beings and gives us messages. And this is, I read this, I read her article, and I said, this is what we need to really look at. And so she channeled this from the Andromedans, and she was describing a peaceful place. What is a peaceful place? And it was the Andromedans, I believe, that were speaking, or that's how she writes it. And the quote for that is, a space that is free from clutter or distraction within your being. Move that over. A space where you can awaken your divine plan. You will find yourself settling into this space of peace and contentment, maybe without instruction and automatically, because you have completed your searching, you have completed your questioning, you have received so many answers, but there is a surrendering into the peace and contentment of your being. Take a deep breath at that. Right now, we are surrounded by noise, all kinds of noise, loud speaking voices, people arguing, people saying, I'm right, you're wrong, pointing the finger at each other, people doing things that are just irrational. How do we listen? How do we listen to our inner self and our heart in the midst of all of that, I'm going to call noise? It's all noise. It's all distraction. It's all agitation. It agitates us, and we don't even consciously know that we're being agitated. But all of a sudden, we'll be doing something, and all of a sudden, we'll be overwhelmed. And it's like, I can't do this anymore. There's so much going on in our minds that it's hard to focus. It's hard to look and say, I can understand this, or I can do this, or whatever it is. And we have to walk away and begin again. So, these are the things that when we talk about peaceful presence, it's not just about noise that we hear. It's not just about thoughts. It's not just about noise, but it's all about all of that. It's a combination of distortion, noise, errant thoughts, thoughts being put into our minds that we wish we never read whatever article we read because it's changed our personal attitude for the day. Uh, this is a very emotional time of life for all of us. Morning, Radhika. And so this personal outlook on life, as I see it over the past couple of years, has changed. It's changed in me in many ways where I can look and say, I'm safe. I'm okay in this moment. But how do I express that to people? How do I talk to people and say, oh, you can do this, or if you do that, it will help you. And that's my purpose here. My purpose here is really to look and say, here I am. This is what we've got to do. This is, you know, really the thing that each of us need to address, not as a collective, but as individuals. I don't know what's going on in your mind or your body. I can assume all kinds of things. The reality is that each of us who are, doing this is really just looking at ourselves in the mirror. When we see it happening in the world, it's not just out there anymore. It's in here as well. It's in our hearts that we're feeling this. And we have to find a remedy. And so the remedy is, how do we find a peaceful presence within ourselves? So as I read her message this morning, the interesting thing, there were two words that got my attention. And let me see if I can find my notes again. So the the two words were distraction and surrender. So when we look at this and we say, there's something crazy going on with this camera and I'm not liking it, but that's okay. I don't like the way it's shooting me because I'm looking all over the place. So bear with me, please. I get confused very easily. Attention, immediately, distraction, and surrender. Where do we surrender to? Whom do we surrender to? We have to surrender to ourselves. And, this is the part of us that really looks at each other and says, hey, I'm just doing this. I'm not creating this. I'm reacting. I'm reacting to what is going on in the world. And the hard part of reacting is, when do we know that we're overreacting? Okay. Where do we know that we're overreacting, and how do we then look at this and say, oh, I can do this. I can find my way into a safe space and see it happening around me, but not falling victim to it, not looking at it from a angle of victimhood. We need to find space. And it's not just space around us. We need to find and create a space within us, a safe space where we can uh, take a deep breath and know that there's an outer world that is in chaos, but I don't have to be in chaos with it. Okay? So, this is what we're doing. We're looking at this and we're saying, where do I go within myself to find that peace? Because it's in the peace that the distortion that's around us can't penetrate. It can hide the peace. It can bury the peace underneath all of the sense of destruction and hatred and prejudice. But it can't destroy peace. Peace is our natural presence. That's why the title is Peaceful Presence. We are not born into the world to be villains. We're not born into the world to be warriors and killers. We're born into the world to be part of the world and in balance with the world. And somehow, over thousands and thousands of years, we have drifted away from that, becoming fascinated with power, being fascinated with toys and stuff and magic, what we call it's electronic magic, making things happen. Good morning, Victoria. The other thing is that each one of us, as we do this, we forget how to love. And we forget how to love ourselves, not just each other. So the way to peaceful presence is to find something about yourself, to surrender to yourself. I know most people don't like the word surrender, but it's not giving up. It's allowing yourself to go with the flow. Go with the flow that tells you where your true purpose is. Andrea is saying, heard many lectures by Richard Rohr discussing being able to hold a space of paradox, and I'm trying to wrap my brain around that because there are times when you are a witness to the suffering of an individual, and that is the most difficult. Don't try to wrap your brain around it. That's the simplest solution. Wrap your heart around it. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction so that I can bring the heart into it. Because you see, it's our mind that's affected. Everything that's going on affects our mind. And then it feeds our heart. All of that feeds our whole body. It's like living backwards and upside down. If we dare, and I say the word dare because it is a challenge, to open your heart and start to think from your heart, what does your heart feel about anything? Not your head. What does your heart feel about it? When you hold an infant in your arms, you can look at the infant and say, oh, how beautiful, and your mind is going, and look at his eyes, and say, oh, that's, I can love that. But what are you really doing? You're loving the surface, you're loving the look of it, you're loving the feel of that. But real love is what you're feeling in your heart. As you hold that infant in your arms, you know it's alive. Can we come back to loving being alive? Just simply alive. What does it mean for us to be alive again? In many ways, I feel that life has been drained from us. Intentionally, unintentionally, I'm not concerned about that. What I'm concerned about is that we have somehow lost our ability to discern who we are in the middle of everything. So, this is a point of coming back into a sense of stillness, a place of safety within our hearts. But we have to come back into the hearts and open that space. Literally, with our minds, think about our heart as being the center point of our existence. Yes, we have to go pick up the kids. We gotta go to the dentist. We gotta all we want. But when you wake up in the morning, that instant you wake up, can you wake up in a place of peace and say thank you? Can we be thankful for that ability to just to wake up? To hear the birds sing, to hear the wind blow. Things outside of us that exist, whether we're here or not. That's life. That is living. That is coming back into wholeness, into oneness. There's no judgment in that. We recognize we are part of something that's bigger than all of us. It's our divine presence in this glorious world we call Earth. And from then we can start our daily list and go. But that moment, that's just that moment. Now, if you're waking up and you're in fear already, or you're in an ego state, so I gotta go, you're scrambled. Think about that. That should be telling you something. That should be telling you that you're not living your life for you. You're not honoring yourself. Sounds crazy, but just honoring yourself in that first moment of your day can make a big difference in your world. Because you are that important here on planet Earth. You're not expendable. When we have people killing each other, innocent children, sick people, old people, young people, who have not done anything to anyone, and we can allow that to happen, we're no better than rats. No better than rats. And I say that just as nasty as I can say it. We are no better than rats who just hoard and grab and take only for survival. That's not living. That's not living. It may make us scavengers, and we'll do anything to survive, whether it's good for anybody or not good for anybody. So rethink. Rethink about where in your body you might be distorted. Where is the physical symptoms showing that? We look at disease and we've been told by um, companies that right now we're being bombarded with medicines and we're being bombarded with solutions to problems. But they're not solutions to problems. They are problems that were created by society and a remedy made to lessen the severity of it, but it doesn't make it go away. Only we can make it go away because it's caused by all of the distortion in our world. Whether it's electronic distortion, emotional distortion, violence, hatred, judgment. It only has an effect on our physical body if we allow it to stay in our brain and use it as a way to live. And the reason we're doing that is because we're being told that we're going to be destroyed by either a virus or a war, by hatred, by prejudice. Are you getting the program here? This is what's happening. We're being brainwashed into a world where we have to defend ourselves. And if I can get you to defend yourself, then I know that I have produced fear in you. The fear of your inability to control your life, to be who you are. And what you become is whatever I want you to be. You are now under my power. And I'm not trying to do that at all. I'm just spitting it out as it is. We need to come back to balance our energies, respect ourselves. Yesterday in the Global Heart team, and I'll try to be brief today, because it's a long subject. I could probably do several talks on this. But I wrote these words that come through me when I do the Global Heart team. It's a meditation group, and we send love to the world. That's what we do. That's our purpose. It began as a group called Hearts Across the World years ago. Now it's ended up as Global Heart Team. And the topic was inclusivity of the personal heart. And I didn't know what that would mean. It didn't register. But these are the words that came through me that I want to read to you. Because it's all about inclusivity. I can hardly say the word. I didn't say I was the brightest bulb on the tree, did I? Okay. Our hearts do not create a judgment. It is our minds that manifest it, based on positive or negative energies. Our minds have been trained to assume that all negative emotions are bad. Yet many times they may save our lives. All of us are capable of seeing and feeling. And both of those aspects simultaneously before we choose one another or one or the other. Let me read that again. All of us are capable of seeing and feeling both of those aspects simultaneously. before we choose one or the other. A split second of judgment holds us in a circle of criticizing and reacting to each other in very harmful ways. Let us pause and think before we criticize humans and their behaviors. Let us look deeper into what their hearts might be feeling without judging them. The most heinous acts of humanity come from the repetition of hidden emotional pain and a deep inner sense of hopelessness or guilt. Let us become more aware of where our rising pain came from and allow our hearts to begin healing. Let us carefully and slowly offer forgiveness to ourselves and then focus it outward to those we may have intensely held accountable, sending love and compassion to assist in the healing of their hearts. The healing of your hearts. The healing of your hearts is done from within your heart. And this is the message today. What we've been shown as normal is not peaceful. What we've been shown as normal is not being fully in your presence, your full, powerful presence. What we have been taught over thousands of years is to follow the rules. Not the rules that would make us all equal, but the rules that keep us separated. Not just physical separation, not just visually separated, not just emotionally separated, but separated to the point where we can't even recognize ourselves anymore. When we look out into the world, we're seeing people that are not like us more and more. Are we not one humanity? Does it matter what color we are? What size we are? What language we speak? Does that really make us different from each other? Think about it. Think about it and take the time to say, as long as I'm living in that world where I'm judging everything, I'm trying to make sense of the unimaginable, the horror. I'm caught in a loop that will keep me in that cycle. And the only way that you can break out of that is to come back into your heart, to balance your own energy, to find places and things that allow you to stop the noise in your head. And I don't mean drugs, and I don't mean chemicals, but Mother Nature. Tap into the energy of Mother Nature, the wind, the clouds going. You can do it anywhere. You can see outside. If you're trapped in a building, then you would have to imagine it. But look outside and watch the clouds. Watch the leaves and the trees blow. Humanity doesn't control that. It can distort that. It can manipulate that, but it will never own it. It will never not make a tree a tree. But it has the power to make a human not human. Bless you all, and thank you all for being with me this morning. I feel a little scattered this morning, and I don't know why, but that's okay. I do know that this issue that we're dealing with in the world right now is overwhelming many of us. And I have to admit that I'm one of them. It's overwhelming. And as Andrea in the ACIM, which is the A Course in Miracles, speaks of the healing of this perceived separation which causes all suffering. Absolutely. It's created by thinking, not by living. And there is no real separation, but we create it in order to identify ourselves as individuals. Thank you for that. I could talk another hour and a half in Course in Miracles, because I was a facilitator for that. The reality of all of this is that in our hearts is the truth. But if we don't know how to get into our hearts and open and unlock the wisdom of our hearts, we'll always be stuck with what we call the wisdom of the brain, which is all about separation. Unity, separation. The two halves of the heart, which really aren't two halves, work together. The two halves up here work by being separated. Separation, unity. Thank you. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. We have always been unity. We will always be unity. The only place we're not in unity is here. Find a place where you can sit and meditate, be quiet, tap into nature, become one with Mother Earth again. Feel the wind, smell the wind. Come back to life. Come back to life. Because it's not what you're seeing. That's not living. That's destruction. That's the street gangs, not the park. I love you. Bless you. Thank you so much. Be the best you can be. I know it's tough. I know there's a lot out there for us to deal with and move through, and we can do it because that's why we're here. That's why we're going through all that we're going through right now, is to awaken us so that we can be the best we can be to each other. It's all about love. We'll see you next Friday, and bless you all as we move through this next week. And know that, prayer, sending light and love to the world from your heart as you manifest it, don't just hold it, give it away. The more you give, the more you will receive. I promise you that. What you give away, what you do, will come back to you. There's a dark side of that too. So be careful. Love you all. Have a wonderful week. Bless you, bless you, bless you. And now I'm going to try. Oh, there it is now in this corner here. So, yeah. Thank you very much.